This is Spencer Dutton taking a bit of a midday siesta near a tree outside of Amarillo, Texas.
How about you slide that over to me?
Finally, a scene we've been looking forward to since the show started played out, and it was as important as I hoped. It's not a spoiler to say that Spencer is on his way home because nothing good ever seems to happen to a Dutton on a train, so surely he won't make it to Montana without another adventure. Actually, I've got evidence to support that. Last week, I predicted that Spencer would make it home by episode 6, and Alex would follow in episode 7. You did not like that. On YouTube, Lisa says I would feel very cheated if Spencer and Alex arrived at the last episode. So much of their story was getting him home, and to only have one episode for them to be with family would make me feel cheated. Susan Humphrey, 6427, replied with, I'm gonna be downright pissed if they do this. I agree. The joy of season 1 was watching Spencer and Alex together. So far, season 2 has not replaced that joy. But this video is not about my joy. It's about Spencer getting picked up by the marshal and Alexandra's hellish train trip and the big cliffhanger that ended the episode. On Thursday, the poll question was, will an Alex and Donald Whitfield plotline emerge this season? And I asked that for 2 reasons. One, they're both rich and both British, so maybe they know each other. And 2, a lot of people felt Don's girl Lindy would end up picking Alex up from the train station, or Alex would arrive and ask where the Duttons live and fall in with the wrong crowd. The majority of voters said, no, that's not gonna happen, and I now agree because it seems like Alex is still a long, long way from Montana. She's stuck in Chicago.
The train to Fargo is cancelled. Why?
Snowdrift.
How long does that take?
I don't know, lady. So far, there are only 7 tickets sold to that train. Because no one goes to Fargo in the f***ing winter.
To get there, she had to jump on a moving train, swallow her pride, and take a job waiting tables, and then suffer this creep.
Why don't you bring me something sweet?
That escalated the next morning, and I'm just gonna screenshot this because it's kind of an awful scene to watch, and because I want you to see who else is in this scene. There's a witness! Hallelujah! We have a witness who can support Alex's claim that she acted in self-defense.
You are arresting the victim, sir. My husband and I both witnessed the man place his hand beneath her skirt as she poured him coffee.
In the end, Alex ends up going home with this couple, which brings us to this week's poll question. Do you trust them? Her name is Hillary, played by Janet Montgomery. Let me know if you also loved her as Lauren Bloom on New Amsterdam. His name is Paul, played by Augie Drew, who is Madhor on Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, or he was Madhor. I'm really not certain, because if you think 1923 is dragging, try watching that show.
Oh, will you bring us some biscuits? You know what I mean when I say biscuit.
She means a cookie.
Yes, a cookie.
I want to trust him, but I also recall thinking that Marshall Kent was of solid character, and he would surely set Father Reynaud right. Yeah, that didn't work out. Without a doubt, this is going to set Alex back, and we know that because of a leaked episode description. Robbie Dickin on YouTube found this one for episode 7 that says Alexandra braves the cold, and Jacob and his crew eagerly await Spencer's return at the train station. Episode 7! Don't despair, however. Chelsea on Main Street points out that Alex and Spencer could be on different timelines, sort of like they were on a different timeline than the Montana Duttons for all of season 1. Quote, for all we know, Spencer could already be at the ranch while Alex is jumping onto that train. Yeah, possible. I can't imagine a more awkward, hi, how you've been kind of conversation than if she arrives under this scenario, but sure, yeah, it's possible. Forgive yourself if you missed it, but she confirmed that she is still with child. If you remember, she did this after being attacked in New York City.
He took everything.
At the end of this episode, she confronts her carmate about stealing her tips, and this happens.
And you'll see.
I already see.
Quick sidebar about Paul and Hillary. They're taking Alex to their home in Winnetka, which is just outside of Chicago. It's a small town with a ton of notable residents, including Kevin McAllister. Yeah, Home Alone was filmed at this house in Winnetka. It's a strangely popular movie town, and it was one of 2 pop culture facts dropped here. The other was when Amarillo Sheriff Hutchinson references the Winchester House in California. That's a really good Google if you've got the time. In just a moment, a fan theory that sounded crazy until I remembered a scene from Yellowstone that would seem to all but confirm who John Dutton's grandfather is. Your questions, comments, and theories will get answered more formally during the episode 6 preview video and on the Dutton Rules podcast. Kudos if you were right about this being the train station.
And just like that, a problem disappears.
There is some debate about if the Duttons are also aware of the train station because in season 1, Jacob Dutton mentioned stashing bodies somewhere. I don't believe that's a train station reference, if only because it's a good 100 miles from Bozeman to the Wyoming border, and nobody's doing that on horseback. Comment below if you disagree. The more important thing here is that Banner seems to be growing even more skeptical of his boss.
I don't know that she did anything. Drugs, maybe.
Whore like that? Morphine.
Didn't look like drugs to me. What a waste.
I just think that ends up being something.
Where are you headed?
Montana.
That's where the lawmen are from. And the priest and the Indian girl. Sure are a lot of folks from Montana wandering around West Texas. And we don't get coincidences out here.
Jennifer Carpenter's Mamie Fawcett steals every scene she's in, doesn't she? I just love this addition to season 2, and I'm hopeful that she intercepts Father Reynaud and Tiona. During episode 5, she comes across Spencer and brings him into town to verify his story. Robert Patrick's Sheriff McDowell says he's telling the truth, but he also tells Spencer to stay away.
The men who killed my brother.
Are they still free?
You better stay in Texas if your plan is coming back here and starting a war.
As far as I know, war's already started.
The sheriff seems to be about the only one out there still hoping for a peaceful resolution. God bless him. Here we learn that Spencer won a Congressional Medal of Honor for his efforts in World War I. We also get to spend a little time with early 20th century communications and switchboard operators, which I've got an aunt who used to do this in northern Michigan, and anytime she starts to tell these stories, I'm just like, you gotta figure this might be Spencer's first ever phone call. About 40 minutes into the episode, he exits aboard a train north. We know something goes wrong there because of this microsecond clip from the teaser video. Hope you didn't blink because that was him sprinting through a train car. Okay, let's get to this cliffhanger. Anyone here think Pete lives through this? I counted 3 gunshots, which is one too many for him to come out alive. After learning she was a wanted woman in episode 4, Tiona rode north with her dad and her boyfriend, but her pursuers caught on pretty quick. I admire Runs his horse's optimism, though.
They could have escaped. They wouldn't leave their people behind. We'll make it because we're out of people to leave behind.
The group decide they need to rest and water the horses, and Pete volunteers for the job, figuring, they don't know what he looks like.
Indian. That's a f***ing Indian.
A chase ensues, and after Pete's horse collapses, he pulls out his gun, and we get this. Man, I think that's it for Pete. I liked that dude, but the sad truth is that everyone Tiona loves is probably going to die. My prediction is that Runs his horses is next. One last thing as it pertains to the Dutton family tree. If you watched episode 5 preview video, you got a really good explainer, and we've also created another video about the family tree that we've linked to below. Feisty old gal 8257 said something on YouTube that sounded kind of crazy at the time, but I don't know, it sort of makes sense. Quote, Spencer makes it home and saves the ranch, but loses his leg in the process. That's random, right? Except for this scene from season 4, episode 2 of Yellowstone.
My grandfather lost his leg. Said the worst pain he ever felt was in his toes after his leg was gone. Phantom pain, they call it.
Since then, this scene has been improperly cited as John saying his grandfather lost a leg during the war, but he never says war. So if Spencer, Jack, or anyone else loses a leg during 1923, we know we got our guy. Next Monday, portions of my interview with actor Brian Conowall, who plays Clyde. I promise you're going to want to see that. You can find an interview with actor Julia Schlaepfer right here. I'm Billy Dukes for Taste of Country. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing.